Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about having a Scorpio sun and Taurus moon in a natal chart. Now, I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. What I'm talking about is having that sun-moon combination in your natal chart, a Scorpio sun and Taurus moon. Now, the basic character, which is the sun, and in this case, the sun being in Scorpio, can be very resourceful, resilient, willful, intense, empowering, and probing. Now, on the unconscious side, which is the moon being in Taurus in this case, the sun represents the conscious side of the person and the moon the unconscious side. Now, with the moon being in Taurus on an unconscious level, a person may be more placid, calm, persevering, persistent, trustworthy, and stubborn. So naturally, with this combination, can be very willful, stubborn combination to say the absolute least. This person, may have a very strong aversion to change. Now, Scorpio, the sun, the basic fundamental character, is about transformation, but in terms of, their general, habit patterns, their way of being, they like being a fixed sign. Of course, they like to keep things basically, essentially the same, and Taurus does as well. And on conscious level, the moon being in Taurus, this person may have a real, difficult time, broadening, their horizons, so to speak. And the person also, another way this combination may manifest could be where this person may bring, that Scorpio, intensity, into something Taurus related, which can include gardening, carpet laying, working as a pawnbroker, doing something with stocks, architecture as some examples. And the sun in astrology is about our basic wants, and the Scorpio sun wants power, control, and also go beyond the surface, go beyond subterfuge and superficiality. And the Taurus moon, needs creature comforts, possessions, peace, quiet, and stability. And you have obviously a very strong disparity in this combination. Most sun-moon combinations are going to have certain disparity in them, but when you're talking about, two signs that are opposite each other by sign, they're both fixed signs, so the commonality, of course, is the stubbornness and the willful energy of the sun and the moon. But the Scorpio sun, is about wanting to get to crisis and urgency situations. A Taurus moon, on a conscious level, they want their peace, quiet, and stability, and is not, going to be worried about that as much. And, what I described with the Scorpio sun with the crisis things. So you have, very, strong difference in this energy on the, as far as the basic character goes, and, in the conscious side compared to the unconscious side, which is the moon. Now, another thing too, the true self is the sun, and the sun being in Scorpio, the true self can be very incisive, passionate, relentless. The inner self, which is the moon, in this case the moon being in Taurus, can be stable, peaceful, have a strong, again, aversion to expanding one's horizons. And the drive and motivation is connected with the sun. The sun is about our drive and motivation, and this person may be driven and motivated, which is the sun, to make a major change or transformation, which is Scorpio. But with the moon being in Taurus, it might be doing so feeling more calm, done in a more methodical and deliberate manner. Not feeling like doing it necessarily in a hurry, but very, kind of slow, deliberate, and plodding manner. Now, this again, this is more adversarial, I would say, if this is in an opposition aspect. Now, an opposition aspect in astrology is 180 degrees. I use a 10-degree orb if at least one personal planet is involved. Of course, you have two personal planets involved in this case. Now, let's say the Scorpio sun is at 9 degrees and the Taurus moon is at 10 degrees, that would form an opposition aspect. And it can be, one way that could manifest. It could be like, the Scorpio sun, wanting that excessive power and control. And it could be to have money, and also in possessions, and it may be a very controlling, possessive, type of nature, because the Scorpio sun, again, the basic fundamental character, can be very controlling. And then you have the Taurus moon, which could have possessive, tendencies. Even though Taurus is very calm and peaceful, energy and stable, it still can be very possessive, and the person may not even be consciously aware of it because it is the moon. Now, another thing is, the sun in astrology represents the biological father, and the moon the mother. Now, with this sun in Scorpio, the biological father may actually be a Scorpio sun, moon, or ascendant, or embody those characteristics. Now, with the Taurus moon, the mother may actually be a Taurus sun, moon, or ascendant, or embody those traits. And this is also about the perception of these people. So a person with a Scorpio sun may perceive the biological father as somebody that's empowering, transforming, someone has a lot of willpower, person that's passionate, and probing, but at the same time may see the biological father maybe as somebody that's overly vengeful or vindictive or grudge holding, or a person that's overly intense about things, overly obsessive and fixated, or jealous. And with the moon in Taurus, the person may perceive the mother as someone that's very stable, loyal, steadfast, steady, money conscious, and a person that's trustworthy, but at the same time may perceive the mother as someone that might be overly greedy, avaricious, or stubborn, obstinate, and unwilling to really make any major change, whether it's needed or not. Could also, when I look at this combination as well, and it's interesting because you have, the Scorpio sun can be very intensely emotional. And then you have, the Taurus moon, the emotions can be very stable, very calm, but can unleash a mighty roar if this person has reached their point of endurance. So it's really, it's this combination, and Scorpio sun can be like that too, because Scorpio sun can have, can be placid to a certain degree, but when they've reached enough, they can unleash that mighty roar, and those emotions can be very intense, to say the absolute least, even though the moon is what's connected more specifically with our emotional nature. And also too, keep in mind, this is a both of these signs, the Scorpio and Taurus are both feminine, introverted signs. So this person is likely somebody that's a private person. The Scorpio sun can have basic character. It is one that can have difficulty letting others in their lives because they could be very secretive. And the Taurus moon, Taurus energy in general, can have difficulty expanding upon their friends, and can be very selective in those friends, and which ones they're going to have. But a lot of this is dependent too on modifying influences, contraindicators in the chart. If there is say somebody has the Scorpio sun and Taurus moon, but they have Leo ascendant, they may come across as much more gregarious and extroverted than the typical Scorpio sun Taurus moon combination. And or if they have a preponderance of planets on the top half of the chart, would be another example where this person may be more extroverted than the typical Scorpio Sun Taurus Moon combination. And one other thing is that, going back to the opposition aspect, if you do have the Scorpio Sun and Taurus Moon in opposition, that I would say could increase the chances or propensity of a divorce or separation between the biological father and mother. But a lot of that too is predicated on those people's their own individual synastry that they have with each other in their charts. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.